The United States just awarded a contract for a fighter jet and publicly revealed almost nothing about it. The official renderings the Air Force released, they confirmed on the record that those images were deliberately altered to hide its real design. Now, what they did confirm, over 1,000 nautical miles combat radius, faster than Mach 2, stealth behind anything flying today, and a weapons capability that makes the F-22 look like a first draft. And in February 2026, a Pratt & Whitney engine video accidentally showed the world what might be the actual shape of this jet. Beijing saw it and they already knew it was coming, because for the past 5 years, America has been flying secret experimental X-planes.
An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years.
And nobody outside of the classified briefing had ever heard about. This jet isn't just the next American fighter. It is specifically designed to beat one threat. One, China has no answer for what it can do. Here's what I'm going to walk you through. The F-47, the actual capabilities confirmed on the record. The engine technology that nobody is talking about. What China is scrambling to build in response. And the specific reason, one by one, why Beijing can't match this aircraft. There's a reason the Air Force called this program necessary. After trying every option and concluding that nothing else would work, let that sit in for a second, where it came from. Let's go back to the beginning, because the origin story of this jet matters. 2014, DARPA launches the Air Dominance Initiative, a study to answer one question. How does America maintain air superiority from 2025 to 2035? The answer it came back with, the F-22 won't be enough. The threat environment is changing. Something new, something different had to be built. By 2019, 2 secret experimental aircrafts were already flying, built under classified contracts with Boeing and Lockheed Martin. The public knew nothing. The pilots flying them were operating under code names. By 2022, a second round of X-planes flew, logging hundreds of hours of test data. Then, in May 2024, the entire program got paused. The projected cost had soared. Each aircraft potentially 3 times the cost of an F-35. The Air Force internally debated whether it was worth it. And here's what came back from the study. Air Force Major General Joseph Kunkel said it publicly, bluntly. We tried a whole bunch of different options, and there was no more viable options than NGAD to achieve air superiority in this highly contested environment. No more viable options? Read that again. The most powerful Air Force on Earth ran the numbers on every alternative and concluded there is no substitute for this jet. March 21st, 2025, President Trump announced the contract award to Boeing. The aircraft was officially designated the F-47, named in honor of the P-47 Thunderbolt, one of the most battle-proven American fighters of World War II. One quick thing before we go deeper. If you're not subscribed yet, hit the button now. I put real work into getting these facts right, and it means a lot. And it only takes 2 seconds. What the F-47 actually is. Now let me be clear about what the F-47 is, and what it isn't. It's not just a fighter jet. The Air Force does not call it that. They call it a family of systems. The crewed F-47 is the quarterback. Around it, a network of collaborative combat aircraft, semi-autonomous drones called CCAs, flying in coordinated formations, taking fire, carrying additional weapons, acting as airborne sensors and decoys. The Air Force has confirmed plans for at least 1,000 of these drones. One F-47 with 2 CCAs alongside may deliver more combat capability than 2 or 3 F-35s flying alone. That changes everything about how you calculate force size. Now the confirmed numbers. Air Force Chief of Staff General David Alvin posted this officially on record on May 2025. Combat radius more than 1,000 nautical miles. The F-22, 590 nautical miles. The F-35, 670 nautical miles. The F-47 nearly doubles the reach of its predecessors without aerial refueling. That is not a small upgrade. That is a strategic shift. It means the F-47 can operate from bases far enough back to be outside the range of China's anti-ship ballistic missiles and still reach deep into contested Pacific airspace. That is a specific problem it solves. The engine, the secret nobody's discussing. And here's what most people covering the story are completely missing. The engine. On February 17, 2026, Pratt & Whitney released a video about the XA-103, the adaptive cycle engine being developed by the F-47. And in the final seconds of that video, a rendered aircraft appeared. The defense community went immediately quiet. Then, very loud, nobody had seen the F-47 real shape publicly before. The Air Force confirmed their official renderings were deliberately altered. And here, in an engine manufacturer's promotional video, was something that looked exactly like what the program described. Here's what matters more than the shape. It's what the engine does. The XA-103 is a 3-flow adaptive cycle design. In plain language, it has 3 separate airflow channels, and it can switch between them depending on the mission. Mode 1, maximum stealth. The engine runs in high efficiency mode. Low heat signature, near silent thermal profile. Virtually invincible to infrared sensors. Mode 2, combat power. Third channel redirects all airflow for maximum thrust. 40,000 pounds of thrust. Faster than Mach 2. 25% greater fuel efficiency than conventional engines. 20% more thrust when it needs it. No previous fighter jet in history has done both. You've always had to choose stealth or performance. The XA-103 does neither because it does both. Pratt & Whitney's own lead engineer said publicly, the United States is not interested in parity in any fights around the world. Not interested in parity? That is the operating philosophy behind the aircraft. Now, let me tell you exactly what China is building, because this is the most important part of this entire story. December 26, 2024. China publicly flew a 6th-generation prototype for the first time, the Chengdu J-36. The Pentagon's 2025 China Military Power Report confirmed it. Not a rumor. Confirmed. On paper, the J-36 looks terrifying. Tailless design, twin engines, estimated 50 to 60 metric tons. That's approaching the size class of American strategic bomber. Large internal weapon bays holding up to 8 long-range missiles. A side-by-side cockpit. 2 crew members, 1 flies, 1 manages electronic warfare and drone coordination. China also flew a second prototype, the Shenyang J-50. Smaller, tailless lambda wing designed for carrier operations. And on August 5th, 2025, a third unidentified tailless prototype was spotted near Chengdu. 3 separated 6th-generation programs, all flying, all before the F-47 has taken its first flight. So here's the question I know you're asking. How is the F-47 a threat China can't counter? Let me give you the specific answers. The 5 reasons. Reason 1, range. The F-47's confirmed combat radius is over 1,000 nautical miles. That equals roughly 1,900 kilometers. China's anti-ship ballistic missile umbrella are designed to deny the United States access to airspace with a certain range of Chinese coast. Those missiles threaten American bases and aircraft carriers. They threaten aerial tankers that 5th-gen fights depend on. The F-47 is designed to operate without those tankers, from bases outside that missile umbrella, and still reach deep into the Pacific fight. The J-36 does not change that equation, because the J-36 is Chinese, and it still has to operate from Chinese territory. The F-47 doesn't have to get close to China to hit Chinese air assets. That asymmetry does not go away with a bigger Chinese jet. Reason 2, the CCA network. The J-36 is an impressive platform, but It's a platform. The F-47 is a command mode. It doesn't just fly into battle, it orchestrates battle. The CCA drone network the F-47 commands has no equivalent in the J-36 program that has been publicly confirmed. China is working on loyal wingman concepts, but the integration maturity, the battle-tested network architecture, the AI-coordinated software, none of it exists to the scale the United States has already built. Years of F-35 network testing, years of CCA development already underway. Over $8.2 billion spent on NGAD technologies before the F-47 contract was even signed. China is flying a prototype. America is building an ecosystem. Reason 3, stealth generation. The Air Force has publicly stated the F-47 has significantly more advanced stealth than the F-22, which itself remains one of the stealthiest aircrafts ever built. Air Force Chief Alvin used the phrase, stealth plus. The J-36 radar absorbent materials and embedded antennas represent a real leap forward. But China has never designed a stealth aircraft to the level of the F-22, let alone beyond it. The fifth generation gap between the J-20 and the F-22 was never fully closed. The sixth generation gap between the J-36 and the F-47 is starting wider. Reason 4. This is the one nobody talks about. The United States Air Force has been operating stealth fighters in the real combat environments for decades. The B-2, the F-117, the F-117, the F-22, the F-35, tested, rewritten, battle hardened. The J-20 has never been in combat. The J-36 has never been in combat. You don't learn how to fight with a new aircraft by flying it in a test circuit near Chengdu. You learn by doing it, under pressure, against real adversaries who are trying to kill you. America's sixth generation doctrine will be built on a foundation of actual experience. China's won't. Reason 5, the coalition. The F-47 was explicitly designed for coalition interoperability. It will share data, share targeting, share sensor feeds with allies operating F-35s, with Japan's future GCAP platform, with South Korea's KF-21, with every partner in the Pacific who is building compatible systems. The J-36 flies for one country and coordinates with one military. The F-47 is the quarterback of an alliance. The honest reality. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you America has no challenges, or I'm not going to sit here and tell you America has no challenges, because technically I'm sitting, not standing, because the record is honest about them. The F-47 has not flown yet. First flight is targeted for 2028. Operational fielding, early 2030s. The J-36 was publicly spotted flying in December 2024. Multiple prototypes have been tested through all of 2025. Some analysts project J-36 service entry by 2030. China may field a sixth generation fighter before America does. That is a real possibility, and it's one the Air Force takes seriously, which is why Congress added an extra $400 million specifically to accelerate F-47's production. In the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed in July 2025, and why the FY 2026 budget request for the program is $2.58 billion. There is a genuine urgency here. Not panic, urgency. But here's the distinction that matters. China flying a prototype first does not equal winning the sixth generation race. America flew its own six-plane demonstrators in 2019 and 2022 and told nobody for 5 years. The aircraft that matters is the one that enters operational service with a proven network, with battle-tested doctrine, with a coalition of trained pilots behind it. That aircraft is the F-47. The F-47 is not just a jet. It's a strategic answer to a specific problem that the Air Force studied, war-gamed, and concluded had no other solution. Over 1,000-mile reach. Stealth beyond the F-22. A drone ecosystem China can't replicate. Coalition interoperability Beijing has no equivalent for. China is building fast. China is serious. Nobody should underestimate them. But the F-47 was designed specifically for the world China is building. And that is not a coincidence. If this gave you value, hit like and subscribe. Drop your next topic in the comments. That's generally how I get these made. Stay sharp.